Hey, how's it going, everybody? Indypride here with Milk and Cookies Total
And
War.
I am Attila the Great. How you doing?
And we're going to be bringing you a siege battle that we played a couple days ago. Now, I don't always play land battles on Rome 2. It's 95% of what I do. But very occasionally, I decide to hop into a siege battle. And this was a very cinematic experience. I love looking at the cities and just looking at the cultures and everything that are in Rome 2. And obviously, we get a lot of that Egyptian culture here on Alexandria. You can see the Lighthouse of Alexandria in the background. But yeah, we just decided to hop on and do a siege battle. Now, I'm going to say right now, the skill level in sieges is not very high in general. I don't think it takes a lot of skill to win any kind of siege battle because it basically just revolves around plopping units in city streets and hoping that they win. But still, from a cinematic perspective, like I said, very interesting and a lot of fun to watch. So, Attila, you want to talk a little bit about how this battle started at the beginning of the army setups, just a little bit about everything that's going on right now?
Yeah, sure. I mean, first off, you can see that we have two Greek heavy onagers, one each, and we started to bombard these walls, and you have successfully done so, and so have I. And now I sent in one of my light cav to take the gates, which, you don't want to face those arrows pointing at you, so I had to sacrifice one of my light cavs for that. And they're doing pretty good job at it. I mean, they just lost one guy so far. And I can see the beautiful view as you explained from the Alexandria, and I can see one of my artilleries firing these fireballs, and I got the beautiful picture right here. So at the point I can see also the enemy units standing in the front line and doing the formations and being ready to repel us. So
Yeah, well, basically what we're going to try to do here at the very beginning of the battle, Attila's going to funnel through his hole in his wall. I'm going to funnel through my hole over here. And it's really funny because we were talking about it earlier, and we've been using a lot of heavy onagers in the siege battles we've been playing. And we were just discussing, we were like, yeah, these guys are 1,800 talents, probably not worth that cost. Like, it's 1,800 talents, and at most you're generally going to get one hole in the wall. And we are just kind of debating whether that was actually worth the cost or not. And in 11,700 talents, probably not worth it. But we're going to press play on 3, 2, 1, press play, and get into this replay. So that artillery shot actually ended up taking out a few Triarii and some legionary cohorts in the back. They actually ended up killing maybe 20 men or so.
oh yeah, definitely.
And yeah, the bombarding is about to finish up here. I'm going to end up actually putting another hole in the wall. One thing that was very interesting, and I think is definitely a mistake from our Roman enemy here is, well, one, he's going to send in his equites, which is smart. He can kill some of the light cavalry, maybe get some of them off the field, but they actually do have a bonus versus large, so maybe not going to be able to do as much damage as he would like to. But one mistake that I think both the Pontus player and the Roman player made is they're just going to let us come into the city without defending the holes in the walls, which, I don't know, talk about that a little bit. Like, do you think that's a mistake, or do you think that was kind of their
It
idea?
is a huge mistake. I mean, to gather run in the center, hoping for a victory is not a good idea. So basically, if you see that the enemy has only two onagers, which you know for a fact that maybe you wouldn't know exactly, but you still have a feeling that they will be breaching only two walls, which is exactly that what happened. I mean, we breached two walls and we're trying to get in. So I would basically put my whatever pikes I got in here in this formation, which I'm pointing at now from my well, the painting, right? So put your pikes in this formation, put your pikes in this formation, and then it would give us a lot of trouble to get into this the city. So basically they have opened the gates for us like invitation, and we took that invitation, and now we're just planning our next moves. So that is what I'm gonna do. I did try, I successfully tried to repel those equities, which I successfully done so, and now they are pulling back. So now we're gonna start to strategize our point of view here. So, and our artillery is still bombing. It seems like they aren't out of ammo yet, but they should be soon enough.
Yeah.
And you,
And so,
yeah, sorry.
yeah, and basically there are going to be three avenues into the city. There's going to be the middle street right here. There's going to be this side over here where your chariots and some of your other units are going to come later in the battle, and of course those will make a huge impact because chariots are stupidly broken at the moment. But then my avenue of attack is going to be right here. Some of my units I'm going to send right here to try to kind of pincer these Roman units that he sent up here, and then the rest of my army is going to go all the way back here and attack from this direction and this direction on the city street. So we're basically going to try to surround everyone. They've gathered up in the central plaza, and while putting pikes on each ends of this plaza is a pretty decent idea, I think just moving them up to the gaps right here at the beginning of the battle would have made it really hard for us to breach. And like I said, one, I don't think sieges take a lot of skill because it is mostly about just troop compositions and whether you bring a lot of pikes, because if you spam pikes in siege battles as defender, it is almost impossible to win.
It is.
But yeah, personally, I just don't think that it takes a lot of skill. But again, it's not. This battle's not so much about the skill as it is about the cinematic perspective on everything. So again, what I'm gonna try to do here is send a bunch of these Scutari spearmen and the cavalry up this side of the city and just keep capturing all these towers. Now, it's not to convert the towers and have them shoot the enemy army because it's not going to happen. Their units aren't over here. It's just to get them off my back and make them stop shooting me.
Yes.
So as soon as I cap these, I can bring my army over here and then try to attack them from the rear while you attack from the front.
Exactly. So I have also printed in the map explaining how you're moving your troops, and same goes for me, how I'm going to move my troops. And basically what you told about the chariots is a funny thing. I mean, sure, I do agree that they're OP, but it's also kind of fun to watch how they wreck everything, you know. And they also set some booby traps here, but that's not gonna affect me because it's only regular stones. They're just gonna, you know, halt my cav units, so they're not gonna make any damage at all.
Yeah, what do those traps actually do? Do they just slow your movement?
They just slow,
down?
yeah, they just slow my speed. And that's lucky enough for me, because if you put some spikes, which they shoot, then it would be game over for my chariots or any cav units who try to get in there. So basically now I'm catching up with these cav units here, equities. I don't know if he intentionally or mistakenly.
I'm sure he didn't intentionally.
Don't think so either, because they're not even facing me, you see. So now I'm gonna kill them, and now he's realizing that he's like, oh my god, why am I standing there with my cat? So he's just trying to pull back, but I'm gonna chase him all the way here. While I'm doing so, I'm sending in my infantry, Toro swordsmen, to get in here and kill these legionary cohorts. So I'm gonna send my Cretan archers to pound at his whatever, you know, skirmishes they can find. And I'm gonna see that you're gonna bring in a couple units here and hit these guys, Triaris, Vigiles and legionary cohorts. So it's gonna be kind of a double front fight, or triple front, I will say, because I'm gonna get in here and in here, and you're gonna get in from there, and then basically you're gonna send another more units, as you explained earlier, like from the backs, and that's gonna help me a lot, because when I send in my chariots, he's gonna be so like not ready for that. I don't know if he's not ready or just, I don't know, maybe he's, I don't know, maybe concentrating on you. So
yeah,
that kind of helped me a lot, because they're not facing, these hoplites are not facing me, so I'm gonna have really easy moment here.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that when it actually happens.
Of course.
Like, that hasn't happened yet. People have no idea what we're talking about.
Of course.
So yeah, let's just wait till that happens. But what we're gonna do right now is I'm gonna send my veteran shield warriors and a bunch of my other swords units up here to engage the Vigiles and the legionary cohorts over on the other side of where a lot of these thorax swordsmen and Triarii and legionary cohorts are engaging. So while he's trying to cut through that side, I'm going to try to cut through this side. And veteran shield warriors against legionary cohort, it's a pretty even fight, but they will not be able to deal with my noble swords. And of course, they have Vigiles up in the front, so not going to be able to win that engagement at all. So we're going to get a little bit of a cinematic perspective here, get in on the Lusitani nobles as they go into melee combat, and hopefully we should be able to cut through a bunch of these Vigiles and then meet up with the Egyptian infantry over on the other side.
Yes, exactly. That is what I'm waiting for patiently, and now you're coming in with your Lusitani nobles, which is very nice. I know it's going to be a really easy battle against the Vigilis, but legionary cohorts on the other hand is going to be difficult, more difficult, but eventually you're going to succeed on that as well. And now I can see that you're sending in your calves, Scutari calves, into this formation. So this is excellent strategy in one sense. I mean, sure, it doesn't take that lot of skills, but still, I would say it's kind of good strategy. You know, I mean, most people wouldn't even do this kind of way. I mean, they would rather, I think, getting from one point, and rather than going from different directions. You know.
Yeah.
So in one sense, I mean, it is a good strategy point of view. So, and we can see, as you said, a little bit more close-up shots and cinematic, you know, skills here. It's really beautiful to see melee fighting melee. That's one of my favorites. I don't know about you, but sword versus sword is so beautiful, rather than sword versus spears.
Yeah, the animations seem better. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the animations actually change depending on what units you're fighting. I mean, obviously, sword units are always going to have sword animations, but whether they do different animations against spear versus sword or versus slinger or so, it does seem like the bigger the attack discrepancy between two units, the cooler the animations become. But I'm not actually sure if that's true or not. Over on this side, I have a bunch of my Iberian skirmishers shooting at these pikemen. One thing about this Pontus player, like, again, not trying to hate on him, but for much of this battle, he doesn't really do much. I think he just sets his pikes up in on like a certain street and hopes that that'll be enough. But he doesn't actually micro them or attempt to like respond to what we're doing. And definitely when the chariot's coming in, you'll see what we mean there. Which they're about to go into melee pretty soon here, right?
Yeah, almost, because I have still not taken the towers yet, and one of my Nubian spearmen, they're about to take it. See, I couldn't risk those arrows taking out my chariots, even though maybe they wouldn't take them out, but still I couldn't take the chance. So yeah, first off, and second off, also he had a lot of hoplites in here, and that's another thing that I wondered, would he try to face me or not? So I was gonna send in there some men, like infantrymen, Galatian Royal Guards, Royal Peltas as general, and I have also, as I said, Nubian spearmen. So in case that he would try to repel me with those hoplites, these guys would do fine, I mean, one-on-one, and then I would just, you know, that was the plan, and send in my chariots and then try to hit them in the backs. But that's not gonna happen because he's actually just gonna stand still here and not facing me. So I don't know what he's thinking.
He's not thinking. I think he just wasn't microing his troops.
No, he sure was not, because I think you have taken out a lot of his pike units here with your missiles, and now the Roman sees that, so he's trying to repel you.
Yeah, he lost maybe 2 pike units, but at least 1 full pike unit to my javelins, and then finally the Roman player was like, "Why are you letting yourself get shot?" and moves his guy forward and try to chase me off. So, I mean, he had his peltas there, and he was actually shooting back a little bit, but I've lost maybe 30, 40 men in my skirmishers, and he lost an entire, I think his general pike unit, so definitely not a good trade for him at all.
Not a good idea. And now we can see that the legionary cohorts are starting wavering. I'm winning the battle here, so the Roman, he did a pretty smart move. He knows that I'm gonna kill him all. So what does he do? He pulls back. He pulls back where he thinks he's safe, and perhaps that is the biggest mistake. But on the other hand, I don't blame the Roman, because, as you said earlier, Pontus, he doesn't support that great. He just stands still with his pikes. He doesn't micro or nothing. So I don't think the Roman could have done anything more than that. So here my chariots are coming in.
Yep, I'm in insert mode with them as they run through and ravage your guys. Of course, there's no team killing in this game, so they don't actually do any damage to them, but it's funny to see them get knocked over. And we're going to look at his hoplites, and literally not a single one of them turns around. So, okay, normally a hoplite is going to be able to, if it's in a tight, compact formation, is going to be able to tie down a chariot for a while. It might not kill them. You're going to need more than that to kill them, but he's going to not turn them around and not click on a single attack order. So, like, and he wasn't AFK, like, he was actually doing stuff, just not a lot. Like, I don't even think he noticed that these chariots got into the hoplites. So, you're gonna run through, and they're already probably up to about 150, 200 kills at the moment. But
totally surprised.
But I mean, look at that. Like, he doesn't click any attack order, and you're gonna just keep trying to pull through, and it's gonna work because they're not actually attacking your chariots at all. He's just standing there. And so once they get through, they're gonna do something that's very big for us, and they're gonna start killing the range units of the enemy team. I'm trying to switch to the...
That's one of the decisive victories in this game as well. I mean, that I successfully take out these skirmishers, that makes our men much more at ease, because he won't be able to fire upon them, and we will have fresh units coming in battling against this, well, much weaker units. I mean, because you can see my chariots are up to almost 400 kills soon. And what can they do? They just I don't know, man. Pontus is still standing still.
Well, I mean, yeah, like, especially with Iberia, like, if you allow your enemy skirmishers to just shoot into you for a while, like, you're not gonna have an army left because they have no armor. So killing all these range units was a really big deal, and again, like, they just aren't reacting appropriately to it at all. They're just kind of stand.
Open invitation to say, kill us, please.
Yeah, so these chariots they've lost 8 out of 12, and they have 600 kills. I mean, okay, look, I'm not gonna lie, chariots are broken on this patch. Like, they're too strong, they can get through enemies too easily. But in a confined space like this, it was absolutely easy for them to tie down a chariot unit. Maybe it's gonna get 200, 300 kills, there's not much you can do about that. But 700 kills should not be happening if you're actually responding correctly to a chariot. So they dropped the ball on that one, and you're just going to end up pulling through. And finally they routed, but ended up getting around 700 kills. So that was painful for them for sure.
It is painful. And now you can see my chariots are dying. I get only one chariot left, and he actually is going to survive. Do you know that? It's pretty amazing.
Your chariot ends up living?
Yeah, one of them. But he will rout, of course. He's routed. But he will survive.
So the final melee engagement here has started at the front. A bunch of legionary cohorts and some of my veteran shield warriors and Lusitani nobles are getting into melee. Very, very bloody combat. Just a lot of guys crammed into a little tiny space. And we're just trying to gain as much ground on the street as we can as my flanking force and your flanking force move in from the other sides of the city. So your guys are fighting the hoplites over on this flank. Let's try to get the lighthouse of Alexandria in the background there. I'm really glad they added those historical landmarks in the game. It makes
very beautiful.
Yeah, it's very nice to watch. But these Galatian Royal Guard should be able to cut through hoplites relatively easily, and you also have your Royal Peltas over here as well, so should be a pretty easy fight for you.
Pretty easy. And then of course when I'm done on this side, I'm gonna send in my men to try to help out on this side of yours, which I'm printing now. And then of course eventually they're gonna get in here, and then when we're done with a couple men, they're gonna start to chain route. So
yeah, I just want to make it clear, I can't actually see when you drop.
Yeah, I know. But our viewers will see that. So oh, I also placed a couple Cretan archers on the wall here. So
oh, I didn't actually see you do that. Where did you do that? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Are they shooting in? Nice.
Yeah, they're like shooting down, like, and you see that one of his hoplites are starting wavering, and when he's done, obviously those others are gonna chain route soon enough. But I mean, it's only a matter of time because they're being triple sandwich at this moment. I got Galatian Royal Guard, Royal Peltas, and Nubian Spearmen, like totally surrounded three hoplites. Plus Cretan archers are pounding from that wall. So yeah, it's just a matter of time till they're done.
I like that move from you a lot, actually. They're racking up a lot of kills, and that actually is, hell, he just proved me wrong in this replay. You can actually use tactics in siege battles. So
yes.
he's gonna take over the enemy wall and get some nice shots in there. So over on this side, I've been able to cut through a bunch of the pike units because I had some skirmishers shooting down the pikes, and then I also had my own swordsmen flanking. And we're having a little bit of trouble on this side because I didn't commit all of my forces over here, so definitely not a super easy fight for me, cutting through all these bronze shields and legionary cohorts, but ultimately I think we do have the numerical superiority even on this side, and so eventually we're going to be able to cut through all those. And then over on this side, there's just no way they can really win this. I mean, they actually, if we didn't have forces on the other side of the battlefield to come in from behind, all these bronze shield pikes and all these legionary cohorts would probably be too much for us to gut through, because because there's no way sword units are going to cut through pikes from the front. It's just not going to happen. But the biggest thing here, of course, is that your Galatian Royal Guard and Royal Peltas are about to wrap up the hoplites on this side. So as soon as that happens, they can collapse in from the flank, crush them from behind, and we can wrap up this battle.
Exactly. And as you explained, from that frontal battle, it is impossible. They're like, I don't know how many exactly, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh my god, 5 legionary cohorts, 6, alright, 1 vigilist, and plus pike units, bronze shield pike units standing there, hoplites standing there.
In a very tight phalanx formation as well. They're not very spread out, so there's no way you're going to penetrate that from the
no way. And now Roman legionary makes another move, so he realizes that I have broken through the gate here, not the gate, I mean the line. I killed his hoplites, and you're coming in almost from here as well. There's some chain routing on the Pontus here. He realizes that, and he's trying to pull back a couple of
I like that move a lot. That's very smart from him, actually. Pulling behind that pikes is very, very smart.
Of course, because then they know that we have to deal with the pikes, as you said earlier, thick formation, it's really difficult. And now he knows that he needs to protect this center, but will that, happen? I mean, will he be successful on that? We shall see, because his general is also trapped in one way. So yeah, and now you can see that Legion of Cohorts here and Bronze Shield Pac-Man are routing. He got only one Legion of Cohort left, and then when you're done with that, you're gonna get into the battle here as well. And then I believe that the hope has diminished, and they're gonna lose a lot of heart. So now you can see that on the center here that Vigilance and Legion of Cohorts are starting wavering. So the chain routing should start happening soon.
Yeah, at this point, they have literally no hope of winning this battle. They're completely surrounded. The Bronze Shield Pikemen are really the only thing in this siege battle that could have really turned it in their favor. Just placing those pikes in an appropriate manner and like actually engaging with them instead of plopping them down and not clicking any attack orders would have changed things. But he's actually not going to do that, as one of my guys gets horribly destroyed. And yeah, so he's like, these pike units cost so much money, and they have 2 kills, 23 kills. Like Pontus, I'm gonna be honest, Pontus dropped the ball on this one. He really.
Well, you gotta be frank, man. I mean, the viewers know it too, so there's no shame on it. Telling that, I mean, he's the reason why Roman lost the battle here. If he had a better player, then, as you explained earlier, we would have really difficult job to penetrate this entire battle. I mean, we would. The first mistake I think we did also, that we didn't go with a lot of skirmishers. I had only 3 Cretan archers, and let's say that this player was a really good player. Well, no offense, of course, no disrespect to him. I mean, that's just how it is. If he had really good macro skills, man, we would have big troubles. So we would have to have a lot of skirmishers if we wanted to deal with the pike units. And as I said, I had only 3 Cretan archers, so that wouldn't help me a lot. Not at all.
Yeah, I think in siege battles it's definitely less about micro skill and more just about the army composition, bringing a lot of really annoying units. And the most annoying unit I can think of is pike unit. If you plop one of those down and actually click attack orders in a street, there's just no way to get around it. The only way to counter it is to bring ranged units like javelins, preferably javelins, but Cretan archers and slingers can work as well, and just plug away at them. But the problem is, if you don't put a pike cap on your enemy, or a pike cap in general in siege battles, there's just no way. If someone brings an entire army of pikes, there is no skirmish force in the history of Rome 2 that could cut through all those pikes and make it through all those guys. There's just no way. So
do I wonder also that if when you kill this general, he has only 0 kills, yeah? Patch 15, he has changed a lot, sure. I mean, they lost the general. Could that be one of the reasons why they started like losing faith and start chain routing that fast?
Well, no, at the end there, you mean?
Yeah,
well, at the end they chain routed because the balance bar shifted so far in our favor that the automatic balance bar penalty just kicked in. I don't think it was so much to do about the general. I think we just had so many forces left over and they didn't, that there was just no way they were gonna be able to, like, because we look at the kills right here. You had 2,400 kills. I had 1,600. That's basically both their entire armies. They had very few units left, so there was no way they were going to come back from that, and it just caused the automatic morale penalty that made them run off the field. But I don't know, like, I don't play sieges often again because I feel like when I play Rome 2, I care more about the skill, the micro, the outmaneuvering your opponent. But at the same time, I feel like in that battle, despite the fact that maybe the Pontus player wasn't fantastic or wasn't paying attention or whatever, we did outmaneuver them. We did hit them multiple sides, and then of course there's just the beautiful aspect of it. Like, I don't get to play on. It was just a nice change of pace, basically. Like, you don't get to play on Rome or Carthage or Alexandria too often, or at least I don't. I don't play siege battles, so it's just a nice change of pace to get in there and just focus on the melee grind and get some nice close-ups and just see what goes on.
And let me say that I have the same feeling. I mean, I never played any siege battle at all. This was actually my first, and I gotta say, you and me, we both did pretty good considering that we don't do siege battles. I mean, as I said, we could, it could have changed. I mean, it could be for them favor, since if you could face like a really good players who done a lot of siege battles, of course they would know how to defend the city, right? So as I said, perhaps we did something wrong, like too few skirmishing or too less of that or whatever. But all in all, I think we did pretty good job, and I kind of enjoy this because, as I said, I don't do siege battles that often as I should. I do more land battles. That is my thing. Like when I get in the land battle, that's a kick, that's a rush I get. But when I play this with you 2v2 on the siege, I get the same kick. So for me, this was excellent. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. One more thing I do want to say though, and I just think it's really interesting about siege battles in this game. Obviously, if you're defending, you have the advantage, especially in Rome 2. Now, if we go back to like Shogun 2, or maybe Napoleon or Empire, I don't know about those games because I didn't play those, but I know that at least in Shogun 2, the attacker always had more funds because they had to penetrate enemy defenses, they had to go through walls, they had to deal with scaling the walls and just dealing with the fact that the enemy team has fortifications. In Rome 2, the attacker and the defender actually get basically the same amount of funds, which I think is a little silly. And I don't know if someone knows how to change that, please let me know. But everything that I've seen so far tells me that if you change funds for one player, it changes the funds for the other player. So there's no way to make it more balanced and say give the attacking team 15,000 talents while giving the defending team 10,000 or 12,000 talents, because that's how it was in Shogun 2. You automatically got less funds as a defender, and that's the way it should be. So again, it's not balanced. If we're playing against people who are of similar skill level, as an attacker, there's no way we're ever going to penetrate an enemy siege or siege defense. There's no way. You just can't do it. But with that said, again, enjoyed a lot, had a lot of fun, enjoyed commentating this with you. And do you have anything else you want to say to?
No, I just want to thank you all and hope you guys enjoyed this, the viewers out there, of course. So I just want to thank you, man. I really had fun.
And I'll leave Attila the Great's channel in the description below. I've left it on a couple of my videos before, but this is the first time I've had him on a commentate. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will talk to you all later. See you guys.
Take care.